Unbelievable. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Look, we are back on gaming. I'm done. I'm done. I'm already done. The damn video hasn't started yet. If anyone has seen, look, Twitter is just on fire right now. I don't know what's going on. Everything's fine. That's how I feel right now, because you've got to be kidding me. There's no way I could click on my Twitter app on my phone and just see all this argument. Now, look, I understand Wednesday. Look, the salt is flowing on Wednesday. I get it, okay? But y'all got to be kidding me. Look, Gamergate's the boogeyman again. Apparently, Pepe is a white supremacist. We're just going to forget Nazi Kermit, though, right? Come on, man. These people. I've never seen so many people, all right, take a meme that's been around for so long and all of a sudden take it seriously. Who starts to take memes seriously? Oh my God. You got Tariq Musa calling everyone nerds. It's like, Tariq, have you seen yourself? Have you looked yourself in the mirror? You call people nerds? You got to be kidding me, man. I don't understand any of this today. It's like everyone just drank bad water or something in the water. I don't know. And everyone just went crazy. I don't get it. You know what? Let's just, oh my God. Oh. I'm there. I'm there. Oh my God. All right, let's just start with the video. Oh, it's just the stupidity. Oh, the stupidity. It hurt my head. Oh, it hurts. It hurts. All right. Let's start with Steam, okay? Let's start with Steam. And we have to talk about this because Digital Homicide. Oh my God. Where's it? Digital Homicide. Okay. Let's get to this, all right? As you know, Digital Homicide is very, very, how can I put this, sensitive over people who criticize their games. As we know, Digital Homicide has tried to sue so many people, right? We know this. So, Steam removes Digital Homicide games. That's right. So you should know Digital Homicide's, how can I put this, answer to, their games being removed, which is sue people. That's what they do, you know what I mean, all these lawsuits. So, Digital Homicide sues Valve and wants a Steam safe space. Fuck. What the hell's happening to our industry? The community, the industry. Oh my God. Look. Let's just get something out of the way here, all right? Because I really have to talk about this. If we go back to the 80s, we go back to the 90s, we go back, I would say, all the way to, from the beginning of video games up to about 2010, 12 maybe? Maybe a little bit less than that, maybe. All right. Developers have just changed dramatically. Developers, back then would have a good rapport with their consumer, with the fans, and the fans would tell you, look, we don't like this. And mind you, these are times where you didn't have updates unless you had a PC. You didn't have updates. If you were on console, it's like, this is what you got, that was it. If it was a bad product, you let them know. And, consumers really, got on developers. Developers knew they only had one shot at this. You know what I mean? They knew that, so they had to really put their foot forward on a game. Once it's hard pressed on the copy, which is why they gave you demos at the time, on a demo to try and sell you on that game during the time when they came with magazines. Everyone with me so far? Okay. Now, these days, we have developers demanding safe spaces. That's right. So, you're not allowed to criticize their games now. And if you criticize their games, they're going to sue you. What the hell has happened to the industry? Seriously, where do you get off doing this? Look, you went from developers trying to work hard to do something, and if they messed up, consumers got on them, developers admit, okay, yeah, we laid an egg on that one. We did. Nowadays, we see fanboys defend developers like it's nothing to it, all right? You shouldn't say this about developers because you're spoiled, you're entitled. We will see people step in front of a fucking train for developers. They will take a bullet for developers, all right? Not to mention developers themselves, oh my God, you said something, we're going to sue you. It's time that it's time to stop that. It's time that we pull it back. Because when it comes to people like, Digital Homicide, let's be honest here, there's no way you can sit here. First off, it's kind of ironic that you call yourself Digital Homicide and then demand a safe space. Just saying, all right? But the fact is, no developer needs a safe space when it comes to their games. People are going to be critical, especially if they're, if they're paying for your games and they're not happy with your product. All right? They have every right to be vocal. It seems like, once again, it's the industry not being up to par with consumers or customer service of regular stores, you know what I mean, regular businesses. They think as though they can just keep getting away with whatever they do, and then they keep hiding behind these shields. Well, it's entertainment. Well, then it's not entertainment anymore, remember? Now it's art. Now, they always change the goalpost. Always. If you haven't noticed, every time there's an excuse for when they mess up. It's very rare you've seen developers these days say, look, yeah, we messed up big time. We saw not too long ago when developers messed up and they were giving out refunds. We've seen that. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that has to be done. It is. And for people, like, these people to sue people who are criticizing their game, look, you should be worried about the game. Look, art in general, if we're going to go the art route, all right, art is always highly criticized. Always. It is subjective. It is highly criticized. They teach you this when you step foot in art school. We're not even talking about just designing a game or whatever. They teach you that already. You should know, when you go to art school and you start doing these projects, it is dog eat dog. When they start critiquing, because they'll put your work up in front of everyone, and they're going to make sure everyone's going to have their say. And you got to learn to just take that. It's crazy that we're seeing this. It just is. I can't believe it's happening. But it's pretty embarrassing for the industry. And when you see stuff like that, once again, this is one of those times where it's like, oh, they're blacklisted. I mean, they're not blacklisted. That should be the answer if you ask me. So they're suing people for criticizing their game. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, yeah, just you blacklist them. You push them away. You do it like you did in the 90s or the early 2000s. You made a bad game, don't need you. That's how they learn their lesson. So, let's move on. Like I said, that's why accountability is, you really have to work on accountability. When you see a developer, you know they pretty much screwed you over on their product, and they come up with another game from the people who brought such and such, people who made such and such. No, not touching it. Not touching it. You need to know these people's names, you know what I mean? So if Digital Homicide comes to another game, you know, Digital Homicide presents, no. You're done. That's how it should be. You don't want to get duped over twice. You know what I mean? But give it, leave it to some fanboys that'll just be like, because we've seen it time and time again, you should support them regardless. You know, if they mess up, no one's going to spend X amount of dollars on a game that is messed up, and then the company's just like, well, we're not going to do anything about it, but you don't like our game? Well, fuck you, we'll sue you then. Like, no one's going to put up with that. No. Let's move on. And no, I don't have Pokemon Go news, but I do have some mobile news. I just want to reiterate that now we are very close to October. Okay, and we have a little bit more information now, because I talked about this before, the game Night Terrors. Now, for those who don't know, Night Terrors is supposed to be like Pokemon Go almost, but you're catching ghosts. Now, we have more information on this game now that's getting ready to come out, for the fall, Halloween's getting ready to come out. Apparently, you're supposed to play the game at night, alright? You can do it in your house, or you can do it outside, right? It says, but you have to have your headphones on. So you're supposed to play with your phone up to like this, with your headphones on. So pretty much as far as I'm concerned, if you're worried about going outside with your headphones on because they're on and you don't want to be distracted by other people, or you're afraid someone's going to try and get you, play this game in your house. You know what I mean? They're giving you two different options. So definitely. But it has to be played at night, and that's pretty much what they want you to do. Play the game at night, put the headphones on, and pay attention to what's going on. And just get immersed in it. Alright? So, just to let you know. Also, we need to talk about Sony. We're going to be talking about Sony a bit. Pretty pathetic, actually. The PS Vita came too late, says former Sony executive. Notice I said former. Former. Now look, you can't sit here and say that the PS Vita came too late, alright? Because, let's be honest, Sony had the PS Vita, it wasn't too late, they just overpriced the hell out of it, and they overpriced the memory for it, and then people was like, I'm not buying that. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? So for you to say that it came too late, no. Because as we see as late, Sony, they have not supported the PS Vita. However, third parties are still supporting the PS Vita. There are people online that, on social media that show their collections of Vita, Vita games that are really strong collections, especially from third parties. So you can't tell me that it came too late, especially with all that's going on with cell phones and all. And that's what I'm going to move on to next, okay? Because they're trying to claim that it came too late. No. You had this anti-piracy stuff. You had all these type of things. But let's talk about that right now, shall we? Sony is bringing PS games to the iPhone and the Android. Now, first off, Sony, you are years and years and years late. Anybody who's done any type of emulation, you know that you have all these games, PS1 games, Sega Saturns, all these games have been on Androids already. They have these type of things. So for Sony to come out and say, oh, well, the PS Vita was late, even though we locked it down and we tried to do all this stuff and tried to save our stuff, you know what I mean? Instead of just giving the fans what they wanted at the time, because remember, you couldn't put certain games on the Vita. That's why people were jailbreaking it. And even on the regular PSP, they were jailbreaking it. But, okay. Because I remember a PS Go that, I believe, was jailbreaked a lot. But, okay. But now Sony says that they want to get into the mobile market. I guess, everything that's going on, you saw Pokemon Go do well. You saw, Nintendo's going to the market now. All these people are talking about going mobile. And it's like, where were you at a long time ago? You thought that they would be here already because between the PSP and the fight with the 3DS, you saw the sales between the two. And you saw how strong the mobile market was then when it came to your own products. You didn't think that it was going to evolve to cell phones that have more, at this point, it's having a lot of power, even possibly even more power, all right? You didn't think that was going to happen? But of course, you're late to the game. Like I said, emulation has already been done on cell phones and jailbreaks and all this for years. So for you to announce that you're bringing these games, yeah, you're too late. So if you want to claim, former Sony executive, that, the PS Vita was too late when it came out, well, they're definitely too late on this. So, yeah, But in more Sony news, I guess we should talk about this because I know a lot of Silent Hill fans are very upset that, Konami is still not giving them a Silent Hill game. But they treat those machines and all that stuff. Yeah, I understand. I definitely understand that. You know what I mean? Big Silent Hill fan myself. But let's be honest here. Hasn't been great in a while. And what we saw with PT, a lot of people were, were very happy with it. But then we know what Konami did. We're not going to, retrace those steps. Bring up that pain. You know what I mean? So, let's talk about this. A video emerges. That's right. A video emerges of an unreleased Silent Hill game. That's right. It was exclusive for the PS3. So if you're interested in this game, because I have gameplay footage for you, it is in the info bar. So I'll put it like this. It's sad that this game was not greenlit. I would like to see it greenlit. I mean, Konami, let's be honest. I mean, look, we've seen report after report after report when it comes to Konami saying, well, you're going to get a Silent Hill game, and we're just looking for the right director and the developer. We have to have the right vision. You had the right vision. You had it, okay? You had everything that you needed. It was different. People were happy with PT. And what did you do? You got rid of it. Now, look, I could sit here and I can call you a bunch of names. I can say you don't know what the hell you're doing. Your company structure's garbage now. It's deficient. I call you, that doesn't help the situation. Konami, you have to stop this. Seriously, stop. Listen to the fans. That's all you have to do. And you know what? We're going to get on that a little bit later. Because fandom, once again, we're seeing developers or companies who are so out of touch with fans, and they try to make these decisions, and it doesn't go their way. Like I said, we will talk about that later. Let's move on, though, shall we? Square Enix. Well, should we really talk about fandom and being out of touch? Yeah, anyways. Square Enix launches trailer for anime 2D side-scroller Forgotten Annie. If anyone hasn't seen this, this trailer and seen the gameplay for this, I'll put a link in the info bar. It is really well done. I would like to see where this is going to go. It looks really well done. Just saying. Okay? But, once again, Square, please, stop the Final Fantasy. Take some of those assets and put them into other IPs that you have. I mean, seriously. Like the indie games, I get it. The indie games are there. They're cheap. They're fun. We even saw at one point you wanted gamers to keep donating. It was like, come on, Square, you have the money. Stop. All right? The problem is you're just so focused on big AAA Final Fantasy to hold you over. It's like, look, the new Final Fantasy come out. Does it look good? In my opinion, yes, it looks good. It does. But mind you, every time we saw something that happened with Final Fantasy, and we saw those PC ports, we talked about that a number of months ago, those PC ports had problems, and Square did not fix them, and it took PC gamers to go and find workarounds for the game. No. Just no. It shouldn't take gamers to do that themselves. The companies have to take responsibility on what's going on. They have to. Let's move on. Oh, God. Let's talk about the fighting game community. There's some good and some bad today with it, all right? I wouldn't say a lot of bad. It's more of, you should have saw this coming because I've warned you for months and months now. I've warned you, but okay. So, Tekken 7 crossplay may not come due to security risk and PC gamers cheating. Okay. Well, at this point in the game, when it comes to security risks, I would think that the companies would be able to handle that, okay, security risks. As for PC gamers cheating, I would think by now, and we talked about this before, have we not just talked about structure before, and having these things in place so that gamers can't compromise your information or whatever when it comes to security risks, or cheating. These type of things should be done by that. Like I said, if they want you on their networks, if they want you to play, especially with crossplay, they should sit down. I can only imagine them sitting down in a boardroom and not having any ideas on how to stop this. For years and years, they've had you on their networks. For years and years, you've been paying, if you've been on Xbox Live, you've been paying for their networks, and they still haven't come up with quality for you when it comes to your security and to stop people from cheating. Think about this for a minute. Seriously. So you're telling me that it's the gamer's fault that we can't get crossplay, and not the fact that the companies have not put in the right effort to thwart these type of problems. Okay. But they want you to keep paying for the stuff. Okay. Right. Keep paying for online now. Let's move on. All right, SNK. All right, I just want to reiterate because they're letting people know SNK is still interested in making another Fatal Fury, as you know, Guru 2, Samurai Showdown, and they're considering DLC for King of Fighters 14. Now, we've talked about this for months and months. I've been keeping you up on this, and I told you before that SNK had said, well, they wanted to wait first to see how everyone felt about King of Fighters before they released DLC. And now they're still talking about it. They're considering it. I'm sure fans are going to want DLC. I mean, the game is solid. The game does have some problems here and there. It needs to be patched, and SNK has said that they are going to patch it. We've seen a lot of people who don't know how to play King of Fighters, who are comparing it to Street Fighter V, and in gameplay wise, and they're trying to make the distinction between the two, and you can't because they're two different systems. It's almost as if these type of people have never played King of Fighters. And I understand that the system is somewhat changed this time around due to the fact that anyone who sees the way, you can. Don't get me wrong. We already knew about canceling and supers and all that. We know that because that's been there, okay? But, of course, people are trying to identify with Street Fighter V due to the fact that I think it's more of the aesthetics when it comes to visually appealing, the way they do things. We talked about this before as well. You know what I mean? The close-ups and everything. So I think a lot of people are they're getting the mechanics confused with the actual display that's going on. As we know, King of Fighters is nothing like Street Fighter V, unless you're using the Art of Fighting team, Shotos. You know what I mean? But other than that, it's completely different mechanics. So I don't understand why people would try and make this claim, fighting game players would make this claim, but I don't know. I think they need to sit down and retool themselves when it comes to these type of things. I do want to move on. I want to talk about some positive news for the FGC. Like I said, positive news already, that SNK is considering these things, and they're just letting you fans know because they're keeping in touch with their fan bases, all right? That they are considering this type of stuff, and they are going to bring you other games. It's good to see that they're going to spread the wealth with the IPs. You know what I mean? That's what we want. We want variety. Well, here's some more news. The FGC member Rotendo seeks community aid post-family tragedy. Now, this is a sad thing that's happened, and the FGC has come together to help this individual because of what's happened. Let's say I'll put the link in the info bar of all the things that happened. But here's the thing. I think that it depends on, when it comes to these type of issues, it depends on who you are. You know what I mean? I think that's what it really depends on, because I think if the FGC, if there's people who are nasty in the FGC and aren't big players, and something like this happens to them, they wouldn't help them. You know what I mean? I think that in these type of situations, you got to put, everything aside and help others. But I also understand, when you have people who have, malice or are purposely trying to hurt the FGC, you don't want to help them. They don't deserve help due to the fact that their agenda is clearly to hurt the FGC. So I can definitely understand that. I don't want to take away from this positive, this positive news due to the fact that, once again, I don't see a lot of sites talking about this. I just don't. And that's the thing. Like I said, when something bad happens, like I said, Yahoo was quick to talk about the Smash community and the FGC. They're tearing each other apart and they're fighting. It was like, dude, it was a couple of guys who said some stuff. That's all it was. And they're fishing. That's what they're doing. But when something like this happens, you know what I mean, some positive news, they come together to help each other, and it kind of flies under the radar, and that kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to be a journalist, seriously, then be fair. Yeah, I said it, be fair. Yeah, I know. But let's move on to some, I would say it's good news. It's more like Hilarious news, for those who don't know. Okay? Harambe, that's right, Harambe versus Capcom. That's right, it's a real thing. For those who don't know, Harambe versus Capcom started as a parody, but now it is a free-to-play game. That's, oh my god. Harambe versus Capcom. Anyways, the link will be in the info bar for it. That's right. So, yeah. Harambe versus Capcom. So, yeah. Parody, going real, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, I'm for it. Like I said, people have to understand, alright, that you shouldn't take it always so seriously. So when you can play, like, look, we all know throughout the years, if you play these fighting games, you're always going to have your joke character. You know what I mean? But in this one, it's actually based around a meme that has gone well. We've seen games based around memes before and characters. I mean, hello, Dive Kick. We've seen it. You know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, there's things that definitely should, you know, that should be allowed. Like I said, these games are about having fun. It's not just about, oh my god, they took our IP, we're going to strike them down, blah, blah, blah. Nah, it's not about that. Hello, Nintendo. Hello, Sega. Hello, Sony. Like, you know, it's not always about that. These type of things, you let the gamers have fun, and you let them play their games. Like I said, if you don't do anything about it like this, if people don't freak out about it in the industry and try to DMCA it, you know what that means? That means people just play it and then they'll move on. You DMCA it, oh, gotta get it. Everyone's going, it brings more attention to it. Just like what it did with Metroid. Now, granted, the Metroid game that came out, stellar. Great. Amazing. Alright? But, of course, it caught on even more fame when Nintendo decided to DMCA it. So, I want to move on. Since we're talking about Capcom, I guess we should keep on with Capcom. Oh my god, Capcom. What the fuck were you thinking? Now, we just talked about PC porting not too long ago, did we not, with Square Enix? And we also saw with just Tekken not too long ago, there would be security issues as well. Well, Street Fighter V. Yeah, I know, we're talking about Street Fighter V. I know, you know, sometimes Street Fighter V is when Capcom fucks up on something, and that's what they did. Street Fighter V. The update began to ask for kernel access on Windows. For those who have not seen this, check this out. That's right. Capcom included the rootkit, and what we found out is that the update afterwards had to be pulled because of malware concerns. Capcom, what are you doing? What is going on here? It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not just unacceptable, but you're technically putting people in danger. See, you want to talk about security risks? That has nothing to do with gamers or PC gamers cheating or trying to get an edge or trying to... No, that is Capcom's fault on that part. You've got to be kidding me. I can't believe that this happened. Like, that's almost like playing T-ball and swinging. You're an adult playing T-ball and you swing and miss. Like, come on. You can't do that. You can't. No, not at all. But, speaking of swinging and missing, and we have to talk about this, because I warned you. I told you that these athletes were going to come for your esports, did I not? I told you, and I said, you better batten down the hatches, you better get your groups together, and you better get ready to fight against it if you're not happy with this. But of course, as we know, at this point, gamers can be bought off. They can, especially when it comes to esports. I've seen so many people after this news, oh, this is good for esports, this is great for esports. No, it's not. I'm going to explain this, okay? Because it seems like a lot of people didn't think this through before they decided to throw confetti up in the air and praise and yay and all this other crap, all right? So, let's get this out the way first, all right? The Sixers, that's right, the 76ers, my 76ers, Jesus Christ, acquire 2 esports teams. That's right, they acquire 2 esports teams, consolidate them, make them into one. They merged them and made them into one team. Now, first off, let me say this now. The feeling when, and I'll say this right now, when an esports team is possibly going to have a better win streak or a better winning record, winning percentage, than the actual basketball team. Like, I'm floored. I'm floored. You are seriously wasting assets. You are wasting time, wasting money on esports teams when your regular team is this bad. Or are you going to tell us, well, you know, our esports team is going to tank for the next 3 years until we get, you know, the next big player. Trust the process. Is that what you're going to do? Is that what you're going to do? Like, I can't fathom the 76ers. And mind you, for those who don't know, we won't keep up my sports videos, the 76ers just spent a ton of money over in Camden building a new training facility with helicopter pads and all this other crap. So you have all this money, and I've talked about this for years upon years upon years with the Sixers, okay? The product that you were putting out there, on the court is absolutely piss poor. However, you spent so much money on entertainment to try and bring people in, and it's not selling. And people are not sold on it because no one's going to come to the game to see the entertainment when their team is down by 30, 40 points every night. Not going to happen. And you learned the hard way, didn't you? Yeah, you did. And now, since we tanked for all this time, and it was possible that we're not going to have a great season this season, but it will possibly be an exciting season with a lot of losses. Now you have this. But that's not all, people. No, that's not all. There's more. The Wizards, the Warriors, and Magic Johnson acquire Team Liquid Pro. That's right. If you have not seen what is going on. All these teams, like all these basketball players, the NBA, they're buying up esports teams. I've showed you before in the past, you already know. They're trying to put them on, they're putting on esports on NFL Network and on ESPN, and as you know, the numbers are always bigger for gamers on Twitch. They watch them online instead of on, big networks. And then they lie to you and say, oh, well look, it hit the demographic for this amount of time, at this point, when the game was being played, but it didn't hold the demographic. That's the difference. You have to understand, with all these guys, now you want to talk about some serious money involved, now esports is a completely different thing. However, we are still not seeing the players that are okay with signing these fucking contracts. We still don't see any benefits for them. We're not seeing any type of association. As you know, in sports, you have a players association. No players association to make sure that these players are covered. Nothing. You are still getting the shit end of this. You understand this. And here's the thing. Because it's so early in its inception, the basketball players who have went through these things, they know. They know. So they're just going to let this shit ride until you decide, okay, this is what we need. Until something bad happens, okay, we need this, we need this, we need this. They're not going to do anything until you bring the subject up to them. Then it can be a conversation piece. I don't understand how for years and years you can have this esports and you want to be esports, but you still aren't taking, time and time again, you still are not taking the necessary steps it is for you to be, I don't even want to say comfortable, but to at least travel right, to at least be compensated correctly. If we're talking esports, then it's time that you start acting like athletes. And that's what I want to talk about. Because, not too long ago, one of you sent me a tweet where Anti had said to everyone in the FGC, if gamers looked more like athletes, had athletic builds, took care of themselves, they would be more accepted on a serious note. Yeah. And everyone praised Anti. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. You're right. You are the God. You are this. And you guys sent me and said, hey, Event, didn't you say this before? Yeah, I said it years ago. And when I said it years ago, the FGC came down on me for it. So it goes to show you, all right? First off, years later, people are late to the game and saying this shit. They get praised, all right? I say it years beforehand, and I get shit for it. Unfucking real. It's this, like I said, and even in the video, for those who remember, I even showed examples on how they could dress. I showed, going to the game and then putting on their actual uniforms and stuff like that. I showed you step by step, and I was still bagged for it. So it's like, what can you do? What can you do? Like I said, favoritism. That's what it comes down to. Favoritism. Like I said, people aren't too bright. And we're going to talk about favoritism as well, because you have to understand, within all these reports, all right, about esports and people buying up stuff, of course, they had to bring Shaq into the equation. Well, Shaq has his own esports team. Like I said, if I'm talking about, I'll put the link in the info bar. Shaq has his own esports team, you know that? Well, you know what? For those who don't know what's going on with Shaq as of late, yeah, this possibly may piss you off a bit. Oh, look. Two people who take advantage of the community are going to face off. I wonder how this is going to turn out. Because let's be honest here. What the fuck does Shaq know about Street Fighter V? He doesn't know shit, and he can't play Street Fighter V as far as I'm concerned. Of course, Filipino champ is going to beat his brains in unless we have another Lupe Daigo situation. Now, I bring this up due to the fact that Shaq, of course, is using his celebrity in order to make esports bigger. You're going to see this more often. You're going to see more athletes who have celebrity ties or bring in other celebrities, put in esports. You know what that means? People are going to tune in to see them and not the actual players, all right? The people who actually do this 24/7. You understand that, right? So, with this being said, let's not forget what Shaq has done to this community. Remember Shaq Fu 2? Remember how I had to break that all open with Bitcoin and how they always had the money, but they wanted you gamers to donate anyway, even though, remember, at its final hours, oh, here's just 25,000 here, here's 50,000 here. Remember that? Remember that? Yeah, that wasn't gamers. No, that was business connections who they always had the money. They made the illusion that they didn't have the money and wanted you to do it. They wanted to make you seem like you were part of the process. They wanted to make you seem like, oh yeah, we care about the community. Where's Shaq Fu 2 at? Because remember, at first it was billed as a fighting game. Now we're finding out it's not. It's an actual side-scroller beat-em-up. That's right. That's right. Well, that's what we're hearing so far. But remember, they used you. And mind you, at the entire time this was going on, remember, there were reports of Shaq spending millions of dollars on this, putting investments in that, and he was doing all this stuff. This is before esports. Before esports. Shaq has used this community. But of course, the FGC is going to say, but it's Shaq. It's Shaq. That's what they're going to say. Because they keep falling for celebrity. And you know what? This is where I got to bring in Lupe again. Because actually, Lupe says it best this time. Sorry, I'm not going to get on Lupe. Because he says it best this time. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, this is exactly what he says about celebrity, about money. And of course, if you think about it, with all the people that follow him in the FGC, you think they'd be paying attention on how he scammed them as well. I love this. I love that fucking tweet. You know what? I want to read it, all right? Because I want to break this down, all right? I love this shit. I just do. Fame allows you to pretend that you are important. How many times have I told you fame does not matter on here? How many times? How many times have I gone against YouTubers who are famous? And they say, oh, you just hating. You just don't have that many subs. You just... Okay. How many times have I gone after Lupe and said, hey, you're using your fame to get ahead in the FGC. You're leapfrogging everyone instead of going in the pools because of your fame. The FGC, they rode him to the fucking moon. And was just you saw it every time. It wasn't just the FGC as opposed to just players in general. No, so-called ambassadors were doing the same thing, were they not? This guy was getting invites to go everywhere, wasn't he? Because of his fame. That's why. Even though he was bagging on the FGC time and time again. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all can kiss my ass. He was calling out all types of names, wasn't he? Wasn't he? But his fame kept him around. Matter of fact, he's with evil geniuses now because of his fame. But fame, as you see yourself, all right, pretends that you are important. Now let's talk about the other part of this. Having money allows you to pretend others are not. We've talked about this before. Once again, the money game. People feel as though they're important. When I sit here and tell you, look, when it comes to these pots, when you're playing, the money's not there. The fame of top-tier players, all right, getting special treatment as opposed to, how much money are being made. And if you look at other games, the money is completely different. The FGC still has a problem contending with stuff like League of Legends and Dota. And now we're seeing the competitive Overwatch and stuff like that. We see it. Money. It is a problem. To make sure that you are okay, to make sure that you are comfortable. And I would say comfortable, listen, just substantial at least. You know what I mean? But when I say that, I'm still a hater. Blah, 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 blah. If I jump on all types of people who have both, and I say, I don't care about your money, I don't care about your fame, I don't care about who you know, because none of that matters. What matters is, once we are face-to-face, if we on the sticks, or you want to play online, that's all that matters. Remember? And I was called a bunch of names by the FGC with that. Or just gamers in general. It's a beautiful thing to see. And now we're seeing Lupe say, being smart makes both irrelevant. It's too easy, man. It's too easy. But if we go by Lupe's words, then that means he shouldn't be in the FGC either. I'm happy he said this, but he shouldn't be in the FGC either if that's the case. He shouldn't have, he shouldn't have had Daigo, let's be honest here, take a dive, but that was, Capcom and Mad Cats and everyone involved, and I say everyone involved. That's all their responsibility that they have to hold. But all that is irrelevant, right? Because being smart makes it irrelevant. So if I'm the one that's constantly getting bagged on for telling you the truth and being smart to see through the bullshit, I forgot. People who are smart are actually the bad guy on here. I keep forgetting that. If you're not sheep, you know, like, seriously, I could talk about what Max did just not too long ago, you know, oh, the nigger, this, and it's a slip of the tongue. Because remember, Max fans, just not too long ago, they were like, oh, Event was just looking for something for Max, you know, to be mad at Max for. Yeah, because they're fucking idiots to say something like that. Because fame. I'm so happy Lupe said this. So happy. I'm so fucking happy. But I think I've made my point. You know what? Let's still talk about the FGC. Or should I say fighting games? Let's go back into time. That's right. I think it's time. So, today's video. Alright? I don't think anyone really asked for this one. Alright? But I'm going to show it anyway. Alright? That's fine. Alright? I see your requests. But today we need to pay homage to a little game called Ninja Masters. Paying homage or homage, the way you like to say it, the game definitely deserves, I feel, it deserves some retooling, a remake. Look, if Samurai Showdown does well, we can see games like this come along and still do well. I mean, let's be honest here. We see a lot of games that uses weapons these days instead of hand-to-hand combat. You know, we see with Mortal Kombat, at one point they were just giving you fucking weapons to use, you know, slash people carry on, and they still do it these days. But you have to understand that you can definitely, you know, make something of this. I feel as though if you keep it in the 2D fashion with sprites, and, you know, you really do it big, and I'm talking about, like, Guilty Gear-esque, this game could do well. It could do very well. I'm interested to see how they'll do Samurai Showdown, you know, this time around as well. But it could do very well. So, as far as I'm concerned, a remake could definitely be in the cards for this game. I just don't understand why people can't go back and say, okay, this is great, but imagine if, you know, this was worked on, or if this was tweaked, or I don't understand that. I just don't. People just, it seems like today, fighters, they play a game, in 3 months, they throw it away, and then they go move on to the next big AAA whatever. You have to understand, fighting games have never been about AAA. It's never been just about Street Fighter. It's never been just about Tekken. It's never been just about, you know, King of Fighters. It's been a number of games. You know what I mean? It was never just one company dominating. It never has been that way. And it seems like a lot of people forget that. It's kind of sad. I understand if you like those big games. It's fine. I'm not getting on you for liking the big games. It's fine. But you also have to have some type of diversity when it comes to these games. Like I said, more variety makes your community grow larger. That's what it does. I don't understand why people don't understand this. Like it almost feels like talking to a wall at times. Because people, I still see to this day, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on forums, they still say the same thing. Well, this game sucks because it's not Street Fighter, or this game sucks because it's not King of Fighters, and etc., etc. And that's not how it should be. Everyone can have their little subgroups, but you still respect those groups. If you don't like the gameplay or something, okay, it's fine. You don't like the gameplay, but for you to bag on everyone who likes it, that's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. It has never been that way. I don't know. Let's move on, shall we? So, since we were talking about Konami earlier, I have some good news. This is actually good news. I'm surprised Konami let this one go. NECA releases Contra figures. That's right. For those who have not seen these Contra figures, I don't call them statues, but these little figures of Lance and Bill, they're really cool. They really are. All right, I'm just saying. I'll put a link in the info bar. Also, gamers have stepped up and have actually done something well. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Battlefield 2142 has been revived. That's right, by a fan-made, Rival. That's right. So, once again, Battlefield 2142 is back. All right? It's a free-to-play game as well, so if you want to play that game, by all means, go ahead. You know what I mean? Fan-made game. I just hope that one doesn't get DMCA'd. Seriously, like I said, when these games fall down, as you can see, others are passionate enough to pick them back up and actually make them into something. And it seems like gamers are very happy with this. So, companies, once again, you're not listening. You're just not listening. Let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about Capcom. Because we're going to talk about companies who definitely don't listen to their consumers. So, Capcom says that it aims to be the world's number one developer. Are you serious, Capcom? You want to be the world's number one developer? Okay, look, first off, Capcom, the 90s is a long way away. You were there in the 90s, maybe I'm going to say mid-2000s, and then that was it. Alright, come on, Capcom. You had a number of IPs. You can't be the world's number one developer if all you're doing is pushing out 5 types of titles. That's what you're doing, alright? And saying, these are the titles, alright? Matter of fact, some people are getting upset that you haven't pushed out another one. Other ones that are mainstream, that you had in your top 5. Hello, Devil May Cry. Seriously, Capcom. All you have is Street Fighter, Resident Evil right now. That's what you have. And Monster Hunter is backing up the third. Alright? Then, of course, it was supposed to be Devil May Cry. And then, Capcom. If you want to be the world's number one developer, you know what you have to do? You have to get rid of the old guard. I'm going to say that. Mind you, remember, we talked about this before with the old guard where they're so busy worried about their wineries, alright, and their vineyards, that they don't care about the video games anymore. And the thing is, in the article, they're like, yeah, we could be number one. Like, all of a sudden, they're just, they're on board to be number one. All the, the developer, the CEOs and, everyone involved. And I'm like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You want to be number one? Listen to your fan base. Listen. I've done this before. How to fix Capcom. I've done this before. I did a video on this. You have so many avenues that you can explore, and yet you still don't. You listen more to fanboys than you do people who criticize you. You don't understand that? Instead of worrying about people who are praising you because you know those people, they're already in your pocket. You don't need to listen to people who praise you. Oh, Street Fighter 5 is so good. Oh, it's so great. Throw me more DLC. Money, 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 money. It's okay, I want it. Don't give a shit. Don't care. You shouldn't even be worried about Street Fighter right now. You should fix the problems with Street Fighter because what you did was fucked up with Street Fighter, alright? But you're trying to fix it now. Fix the problems with Street Fighter and move on to a different IP. Alright? And no, not Resident Evil. We already know what Resident Evil's coming. Not worried about Resident Evil. Not worried at all. We already know what you're doing with Monster Hunter. Which you could make Monster Hunter bigger. But for some reason, you still aren't. Community is large here in the West. And yet, you still ignore a lot of them. We're just going to keep it on 3DS because it's cheaper to make it. Come on! You can do better than this. You have, like I said, a ton of IPs in your system. I put it like this. Here's the thing, Capcom. All right, when's the next Final Fight coming? When's that coming? I'm just, like I said, you can just spitball. You can just off the fly think of all these other IPs that they have not touched in God knows how long. And it's just like Capcom's not paying attention. So if you want to be the number one developer in the world, I suggest you get the right people behind you, around you, in those meetings. Or at least listen to those fans and say, hey, look, this is what we want. Instead of saying, we're not giving that to you because we're going to do it our way. That doesn't work that way, Capcom. You can do so much better. But you have to, you really have to either get rid of old guard or for some weird reason, some miracle, open your fucking ears. Unreal. And how can you sit here and say that you want to be the number one developer in the world when you can't even get you can't even get the networks on your side? For those who don't know what I'm talking about, okay? Capcom. Resident Evil, I'm sure we all know Resident Evil 7 is supposed to be what? Survival horror, right? Alright, so Capcom, why haven't you contacted Sony and asked them to change the genre that Resident Evil 7 is in? Because if it's survival horror, Sony has it listed as action-adventure. But since we're on the narrative of companies who don't listen to the fans, let's just keep it going, shall we? No Man's Sky, alright? No Man's Sky update fixes most issues, alright? So the update fixes most issues. It says, will it bring players back? I'm going to have to say no on this one, especially if players have already asked for a refund. See, y'all have to understand, alright? If No Man's Sky failed, and players ask for a refund, and you come out and say, well, you know, it's wrong that you ask for refunds, you're stealing from us. Stop. No Man's Sky, look, developers, you have to understand that, once again, we can take it back and say, look, we got to put our best foot forward first. You were too busy on Twitter taking pictures of yourself. Oh, we're finished. Selfie with all the people in the background. You were so worried about prematurely celebrating, and then when the product came out, it was absolute shit. It was nothing to what you had promised, what you had promoted, because that's what sold the gamers. So, of course, a lot of gamers thought it was false advertising. And, of course, you had developers stick up for them and say, oh, no, it's not false advertising. It's art. Stop. All right? The fact is, you laid an egg. You blew it. And now you're trying to fix it later, which, if you ask me, the backlash has been there for so long. People have just stopped. Is it going to bring gamers back? I don't think it will. I just don't think it will. Not because, oh, well, the fixes are here, we can forgive them now, but how long it took. You should have had these type of things already done. And I understand that deadlines are an issue. I understand that. But we've seen over the years, people admit, oh yeah, we had a deadline and we know the game is broken, but we're going to put it anyway out there anyway, and then we'll fix it later. That type of mentality does not help your consumer. And every time something like this happens, that's the first thing I think. You knew all these problems were going on. You were coding, you were doing all these problems. You saw all these people posting videos from all these problems of your game. And you knew it. You can't tell me unless you didn't have any testers. You knew it. And you tell me now you're just fixing it. And you want to bring people, but no. You've had your chance. That's it. Done. I guess in some somewhat good news, since we were talking about remakes not too long ago, Wonder Boy is making a return. That's right. Wonder Boy, Sega, Wonder Boy, yes, Wonder Boy. Making a return and will be coming out soon. It'll be coming to Steam, actually. So, yeah, that's going to be a good thing for Wonder Boy. So, but, like I said, I want to stick with these companies and not listening to their fans. WWE 2K17. That's right. Season Pass has been leaked early. Season Pass has been leaked early. So you already have this shit done. Game's not out yet. Shit done. The Season Pass has been leaked early. You've got to be kidding me that you're still trying to set up gamers. And don't get me wrong. People are going to buy the fucking Season Pass because more wrestling. You know what I mean? Look, I still feel as though there hasn't been a great wrestling game since Fire Pro Wrestling and, of course, WWF No Mercy. Those are the two best wrestling games I've ever played in my life. NWO versus WCW was fun. And then you had the old school ones, Saturday Night Slam Masters and stuff like that. So, but for you to keep doing this year after year after year, this is a 2K thing. It's disgusting. Why would you? I believe this. Why would you pay? Oh, I forgot. If people decide to create certain wrestlers in the game with the created character and send them on, and post them online for people to make, you'll ban them. So pretty much, buy our season pass or you're screwed. I would rather go with the creator wrestler community and just keep making those wrestlers. It's absolutely ridiculous that you do something like this. But then some people would say, well, you wouldn't get the intros and stuff like that. I thought this was about having fun and playing wrestling. As opposed to every year, here we come again, annually, and then we're going to screw you with a ton of money. Not listening to the fans. You want to know what else is about screwing people over, making a ton of money, and not listening to the fucking fans? EA and their bullshit! That's right. Titanfall 2. Yeah, can't believe we're talking about Titanfall 2. Check this out, for those. Titanfall 2 new 1v1 mode is accessible by purchasing Doritos or Mountain Dew. Now they're hiding modes. That's right. Features, modes, 1v1 mode. You gotta buy Doritos or Mountain Dew. Fuck off, EA. Fuck off. Seriously, do you see where this is going? Once again, Esports, Doritos, Mountain Dew. We talked about this. It's amazing how these people, how they keep saying, well, gamers are nothing but a bunch of nerds. They look horrible. They don't look athletic. They always stuff their face with junk food. And they follow every fucking stereotype, all right, when you go against them. But yet, hey, you want this feature? Why don't you buy this junk food? Why don't you buy these, this Mountain Dew? Why don't you buy these energy drinks? Why don't you buy this custom controller that the guy that you like that plays the game so much, he plays with? You were being fucking hustled every time. And people fall for this shit. How many times does it have to happen for you to say, no thanks? How many times? Like I said, go back to what Lupe said about fame and money. Okay. Let's move on. Fuck you, EA. Fuck you. Alright? Ubisoft. Let's talk about Ubisoft. I don't know what the fuck Ubisoft is doing. Alright. Ubisoft praises the NX, right? And says it's easy to use, so they're praising it. Now here's the thing, Ubisoft, I have to ask you, are you going to pull the same shit that you did with the Wii? I'm sorry, not just the Wii, the Wii U, I believe it was. The Wii U. Where you had stacks and stacks of Wii U games already done and pressed, but you said, we're not going to put them out there for the Wii U until the Wii U does better numbers. Yeah, we're not going to forget this shit. So, Ubisoft, are you going to support the NX and give them what they need right then and there, or are you going to sit on your ass and hold it? I'm just wondering. Like I said, when you see companies do that, you have to question what's going on. You have to. It's disgusting, and I'm sure they held on to those games. They still hold on to those games. It's a loss for them, which we will talk about as well. Okay? Because first, I want to talk about The Division. Ubisoft says that The Division is the #1 best-selling game of 2016. Now, here's the thing. Ubisoft, the game is shit. We know this because of all the problems with the game. Look, you sold the game based off of hype. And everyone latched on it, they jumped on it, they liked the concept, they liked the theory of it, and everyone ran out and bought it. And then we saw, once again, just like No Man's Sky, where everyone was okay for it, and then they bought it, and then they saw what happened. Same thing with The Division. We saw people were falling. I showed you clips. They were falling through the fucking floor. You know what I mean? Like, Ubisoft, for you to brag, all right, and even the media to take this and run and say, oh, it's the #1 selling game in the 2016, that's a fact. You're not looking at the overall scope of it. Gamers are very upset with The Division due to the fact of what's been going on. And for you to sit here and just sit on, say, we're just looking at figures, once again, you're not listening to your fan base. Granted, Ubisoft has tried to fix The Division. Ubisoft has tried to fix, I'll put it like this. There's two games that Ubisoft has tried to fix the most as of late. As we know, The Division, and as we know, the biggest one is Assassin's Creed. Every time he turned around, he was always putting out an update because there were so many problems with it. And then, to a lesser extent, Rainbow Six. Right? We know that. Ubisoft, you have to pay attention to what is going on. For you to just, and that's what I hate about companies. They're so worried about, we saw with EA not too long ago. Oh, well, we see our lineup coming up, and we don't have nothing but money coming in. Money, money, money. Remember they said that? And what happened? That lineup, slowly but surely, was panned by gamers because it was horrible, because the execution of those games were bad. And EA had to backtrack. Same thing here at Ubisoft. You were sitting here and bragging about what's the #1 game in 2016. First off, 2016 is not even over yet. Alright? You got a lot still coming out. I can only imagine what Call of Duty's going to do. Or Battlefield. You know what I mean? Like, you've seriously, stop. Especially fall is coming up. You know this is when the big releases come up because the holiday season will be here soon. And that's when everyone is going to run and get these games. I don't know why you would brag about this right now, Ubisoft. I just don't. But, like I said, you've been taking losses. We'll talk about that right now. For those who don't know, Vivendi is talking about this. They're trying to buy out Ubisoft. They're trying to take over Ubisoft and buying their shares. Ubisoft buys back more shares to thwart Vivendi takeover. They spent $137 million trying to get back their stuff. They're trying to stop this so much. Look, I put it like this. Ubisoft, if you took care of business beforehand, this would not be an issue. And they're already saying within the company that if Vivendi takes over, this is going to be bad. They're not very happy about this, so they're fighting tooth and nail to stop this takeover. I personally don't think it's going to stop the takeover. But if Vivendi's takeover does happen, you can expect the CEO to walk. So Ubisoft, instead of getting cocky and talking about The Division or how it's the #1 best-selling game 2016, you have a number of other problems you need to deal with. I suggest you tend to those things instead of just trying to sit there and trying to make yourself look good. It's pathetic. But speaking of pathetic, we shall move on. And we need to talk about this because, once again, companies who cannot relate to their consumer or even their employees. That's right. GameStop. For those who don't know, GameStop is rated as being one of the worst companies to work for. And I agree. GameStop was hard. Look, when I worked for Electronics Boutique, that's now GameStop, alright? Their structure is still the same. So yes, they're horrible. If you are an employee who is there on the floor to talk video games with other consumers and customers who walk in, you're going to have it the worst. Okay? I'm letting you know that now. Because if your manager, especially if a manager don't care, if a manager doesn't care, the workers aren't going to care. The reason why the manager doesn't care is because the district manager doesn't care. The reason why the district manager doesn't care is because the fucking regional manager doesn't care. See, it's a slippery slope. It's a process, up the ladder that people just don't care. They look at numbers and they don't realize the things that you need to succeed. That's what it comes down to. For example, all right, you may see a lot of gamers who walk into GameStop. You may see it on forums all the time and say, yeah, I walked in there and I knew more information than the GameStop employee. Yeah, there's a reason why you know more information. Number one, you have the internet, all right? You can keep up on certain products. You know what I mean? The employees that work at GameStop don't. And I'm not saying they don't have internet. They aren't allowed to do research on games. That's right. When they're there, they're not. Here's the thing. You can have all these magazines around you. You're not allowed to read the magazine. If let's just say, September's magazine came out. You can't read September's magazine until October. That's right, until the new issue comes out. Then you can get the old stuff. So you're already a month behind. Okay? But as we know with the internet these days, you have to keep up constantly. It's faster than just physical media. So, can you imagine how far behind GameStop employees are already? They are forbidden to read the magazines. They're not allowed to. That's right. What they say is what you need to do is after you go home from work and eat and shower and take care of your family and all that, then you should go on a computer and then you should look it up on your own. If you do not look up things on your own, all right, you'll have to wait for a rep to come in. Now, a rep usually comes in, as you probably see at GameStop, you see the cardboard cutouts and all that type of stuff. They used to have reps come in and they would give you a handout sheet and say, look, this is what we're selling. This is, no matter if you believe it or not, all right, when it comes to believing in the game, this is what we're selling, this is what you want to sell, and we're going to give you a sheet with bullet points on it, and this is how you can talk to a consumer. All right? That's what they tell you. So, of course, things have changed a little bit since then, but this is, like I said, in my experience, how things work. And you have to think, when you have gamers come in, and they know what they want, and they want to talk about certain things, or when you have a customer come in who doesn't know what they want. And I've talked about this before, how I've personally witnessed a woman come in, and she says, I want a game for my, my 6, 7, 8-year-old to play, during the holiday season, and the manager would hand them Legacy of Kain. Yes, Legacy of Kain, because that's what you want your 6 or 7-year-old to play. Oh, it's definitely kid-friendly. Yes, Legacy of Kain's kid-friendly. Mm-hmm. Yes, over. Right, okay. You have to understand that there are a lot of people who, at this point, don't care that they work at GameStop. It's just a job to them. It's a dead end. It's a dead end unless you're buddy with someone. There's no room to move up the ladder. There's not. They have a specific thing that you need, a specific type of education you need in order to move up the ladder. All right? If you don't get your education, if you don't stay in school and get your stuff, you cannot. It's just simply a part-time job. You go full-time if you want to, all right? But if you don't have that education, they're not letting you move up the ladder. So it doesn't help for your career, for your life. They keep you at one spot. You understand that? District managers do not care about certain games. They care about numbers. They care about selling tactics. They will sit and talk to you about selling tactics. Instead of being honest with the consumer, instead of being honest about, how the game is, if you've played it or not, none of that matters. Sell. That's what it comes down to. It's very hard-nosed. Employees, I feel as though, especially if you're young, because, look, everyone at one point was like, oh, I want to work at a video game store because I'm a gamer, I can relate. Everyone thought that. That's not the case. It's not the case. That's not what they do. With all those games there's no possible way that these people can know all that stuff. So if you're looking for something specific, and you want to talk, and you want to know how the game is, they may BS you. And even though you know how the game is, if you just test them, you're like, yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's how it is. Their job is to keep selling you games and try to put on add-on sales. That's one thing they always do. Or pre-orders. Would you like to pre-order this today? Would you like to add this today? Would you like a GameStop membership today? That's their job. It's the same thing with Best Buy. Same thing. They don't care if you know the games. It's good if you're knowledgeable. Yes, it's good. It makes your job easier. But you have to also understand that you have to work twice as hard due to the fact they don't give you any information. But especially Best Buy, they don't give you shit. They don't give you a damn thing. It's not like I said, GameStop is horrible, but Best Buy, they don't give you any information. Oh, these are just games. If a consumer wants it, let them pick it up pretty much. You're just there to make sure that if somebody asks for something, you get it for them, or to make sure nobody steals anything. They don't care if you know about video games. It would be good if you do, but it doesn't matter. Once you see how things are worked within GameStop, within Best Buy, and in stores of that nature, you will understand why people have the attitudes that they do. You'll understand. They don't get paid enough. They're not given the resources that they need to excel at selling something. They don't care. It's just a job to them. Just to let you know that. So yes, I'm not surprised at GameStop. Yeah, not surprised at all. Now, let's talk about another person who doesn't know their job. Michael Pachter. That's right. Pachter comes out and says that PC gamers are like racists and arrogant twits. Because, PC Master Race. Literally, that's what this is about. So he calls you racist and a bunch of arrogant twits. And here's the thing, okay? The people who interviewed him when he said that, he says, no, I never said that, okay? They misquoted me. And of course, everyone came to the forefront and was like, Michael Pachter wouldn't say anything like that. No way would he say anything like that. He wouldn't be that stupid, even though we already know he's that stupid, okay? So with that said, for those who are interested if this is true or not, I'm going to put a link in the info bar to the sound bites. That's right, the interview. Sound bites of the interview where Michael Pachter says that PC gamers are racists. That's right. He says it. And arrogant twits. Now, I'll put it like this. Number one, what is with these people who are not part of our community taking memes seriously? What's wrong with them? Look, the PC Master Race thing, there's some people who really believe in it, but as we know, it's funny, it's a joke, it's a meme. Who gives a shit? Leave it up to Michael Pachter to take it seriously and say, no, you're actually really racist and arrogant twits. And I'll put it like this. Last time, it was a year or so ago, when I went after Pachter. Remember, on Twitter, idiots were trying to defend him and come after me. And who did they go and get and try to defend him? Hip Hop Gamer. So I'll put it like this. If you want to bring Hip Hop Gamer my way again after the way I've been burying him all fucking year, please be my guest. He ain't going to save his ass either. The fact is, Michael Pachter, as we know, even with his analytics, he's always wrong. Nintendo's not going to survive. Shut up. You're wrong. I don't know how this guy still even has a fucking job. I don't know why people keep reporting about what he's doing. The fact is, 9 times out of 10, he's wrong on his stuff. But yet, mind you, accuracy, quality isn't a thing when it comes to the industry these days. Whether it's journalism, whether it's being an analyst, whether it's being a developer. Because they always feel as though they can go back and fix things. And as we know, that shouldn't be the mentality of it. Because, once again, you are doing your readers, you're doing your consumers, you're doing all these people who are reading your reports, you're doing a disservice to them. You are. But yet you want to be taken seriously. I don't understand this. The fact that you would come out and say something so blatant, so hateful. And mind you, this is from a grown man, an old man, who should know better than to say some shit like this. But, as we've seen with his videos, when I want a waiter, I just do like this to tell him to come on over. Not excuse me or anything, and just tip to, tip to my water glass. Are you fucking serious? The arrogance of these people. Like I said, they are on a completely different level. It's crazy that arrogance is being rewarded as such. Whether you're a game player, playing a top-tier player or whatever, or an analyst. The arrogance of people to make themselves feel that they're so fucking important in a community where we weren't supposed to be that important. We came up with our own things because people said we weren't important. So we said, okay, we don't need your judgment. We'll come up with our own community, and we'll be happy. And now the same things that we've tried to stay away from have integrated in our community. No one sees this, though. And when I say it, I'm the bad guy. Y'all know that. It's embarrassing to watch. It is. in the real world, anybody who would say this, such as Michael Pachter, would say this about a specific group or consumers or whatever, they would be fired. They would be fired. Businesses don't play that shit. But for some reason, in this twilight zone, when it comes to the gaming industry and media, it's okay for some reason for them to get away with all the bullshit. You go to any other retail store or any other business, they will not put up with that. But for some reason, gaming gets a free pass. I don't understand this. Look, this is why I always say gaming is 10 steps behind regular businesses. If this was set in Hollywood, oh, heads would roll. I mean, let's be honest here. We saw for a long time what happened with Mel Gibson, didn't we? When he went on that, oh, this is racist and all. We saw what happened to his ass, didn't we? All right. You see it a lot. If you have the wrong political ties in Hollywood, you get bounced. Ask Ron Silver. You'll get bounced. It goes to show y'all, I don't think you can ask Ron Silver. Didn't he die? Just saying. But yeah. The fact is, Hollywood doesn't put up with this shit. And as we know, the reason I'm bringing up Hollywood is because, video games have tried to be Hollywood now. You have to be very careful. And you also have to understand, gamers, that they need you to survive. Don't listen to them and say, oh, I don't need you. I'm arrogant. I can do it so much. No, they need you to survive because without you, they can't sell. Which is why they say, oh, we're going to have this geekathon and get your geek on and all this other bullshit. Oh, Comic-Con, it's for the geeks and we're for the geeks. But as soon as you criticize them, oh, you're nothing but a fucking geek, a fucking nerd anyway, you fucking dork. They turn that shit right around on you. You have to understand when people are bullshitting you and when they're hustling you. I don't know, man. It just seems like everything I'm saying is just going to fly. It's just going to go over people's heads. Because there's always going to be some fucking idiot, once again, fame, is going to defend these type of actions. I like certain developer, therefore I will defend them. I like certain gamer, therefore I will defend them. I like certain celebrity, therefore I will defend them. I like this analyst, therefore I will defend them. Instead of looking at the truth. Very ignorant statements by Michael Pachter. They cannot be defended. It's clear that you took a meme and you took it seriously. And everyone's got to look at you like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It's already bad enough that you were out of touch. Now you've just made it even more apparent. But of course, like I said, when I say something, bad guy. Anyways, I'm hoping that people see what I'm saying today. Like I said, you want to play your games, go have fun. But understand, at the end of this, you're still being hustled. You are. I would suggest gamers get together and start seeing things for what they are. And what I mean by that is, whether it's the whole Shaq issue, go after them. Oh, you think you're so good? Play me. You know what I mean? Whether it's that, challenges, or if it's getting to the point with Pachter where you're like, you know what? We should stop listening to them. Well, you should have been stopped listening to them, but, yeah. And if anyone defends them, there's something wrong with you. Because you should know, they're blind. They're not going to listen to reason. Fanboys do not listen to reason. They don't. So it's not like you can have a healthy debate with them. It's rather extreme, I know. And some people say, oh, well, it is what it is. No, it's not. It is what it is. Once again, our community was never this way. It wasn't. But now that we're in this age where YouTube and everyone can be on camera, like myself, like I said, do I ever sit here and say I'm a celebrity? Hell no, because I'm not. Do I ever say, oh, am I famous? Hell no, because because I'm not famous. I'm just a person sitting here in front of a camera telling it like it is. That's all I am. And I'll always be that. I don't believe in the rest of this shit. I don't. I'm so big and I'm so famous, it doesn't matter what other people say. And if I say something, then it obviously is going to be changed into something different. Like, fuck, what? Like, where do these people come from? Without this type of media, a lot of people wouldn't even know these motherfuckers. And then they say, oh, I got an idea. Why don't I talk about this? And it's like, that was talked about years ago. But my fans, I have so many fans, they'll believe I said it first. It's like, what? I guess. Anyways, y'all try and have a good week. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. I'm out.